Embark on your journey, the path you must take. Though hate may surround you, it's not your fate to forsake. Co-creating your destiny in the dance of time. The guiding light within you ignites the sublime. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. In the depths of your being, the truth resides. Embrace your power, let your spirit rise. With every step forward, you transcend the expanded conscious community we commend. Through trials and triumphs, your soul evolves in the symphony of life, where every note resolves. Listen to the whispers of your inner voice. In unity and love, let your heart rejoice. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. It is the light, the guiding light from the heart and soul. Don't lose control. Let it be the light shining bright, unlocking potential beyond belief, taking flight. As we gather together in this sacred space, embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day. Embracing transformation with grace. Life coach Malachi leads the way in unlocking potential day by day.
Woo! What's up? What's up? Hey, we got a show for you tonight. Kristian A Smith is back on with us once again. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to be here. And stay tuned. Here we go. What's going on, family? Yes. I hope you guys are doing wonderful. I want y'all to make sure y'all like and share this post. Who we got in the room, Miss D? What we got? What we got going on?
Okay, well, special shout out to TFC for this evening. We want to welcome TFC for joining us. I am a proud member of the TFC community, so shout out to all of you guys. It's good to see you. We've got our YouTube family joining us. Hey. We got Mother White, Miss Marie, Lindy, good to see you. And we got our sibling Celeste, who's with TFC and Expanded Consciousness, and she wants a theme song now. Now she wants her own theme song. So there you go. Tall order. And Miss Gwen. Good evening, Miss Gwen. It's good to see you.
Cool.
Yep. And we got Miss Holly. Yeah. So yeah, everybody's coming in.
I talked to Holly today, and we had a wonderful conversation. Holly has a really cool community that deals with narcissism, and we're looking to do some cool things. It's really, really, really cool. So it's good to have Miss Holly here. Well, one thing that we know here that is about to, I'm going to get this thing rolling because I know there's a difference in time. And not only that, this is going to be fire. It always is. I always enjoy it. So we're going to get this night started. Kristian doesn't need any introduction. And if you really need to know anything about him, how about you just Google it? I don't know if he's that. Do you say that yet, Kristian? Do you be like, oh, what do you do? Who are you? You be like, just Google me. That's a new one. I'm going to give that to you. You know what I mean? Just Google me. I think it's amazing. And I know our dear friend, Bishop would be just elated to be here. And, you know, we know his presence is in the room. And since we can't really experience that presence in a physical sense in reality, so what we're going to do is we're just going to do it digitally.
Apologists. I don't trust apologists. I don't trust Eric Mason. I don't trust Jackie Hill Perry. I don't trust Philip Anthony Mitchell. I don't trust Tim Ross. I don't trust Lecrae. I don't trust none of these niggas. I don't trust Megan Ashley. I don't trust B. Simone. I don't trust. Was on or off. Yeah, I will be smoking, drinking, cussing, and talking about life, faith, and theology.
But where's the space for transformation, Chris? If I'm coming to you, I'm a drinker.
Get to the basics of what of it. Yeah, I think it's so important that we help people get to the basics of what their spirituality is. Like, we help people understand what grounds them, because the stuff that we've been using to ground us in the past, it doesn't work anymore. And I'm not saying that the theology was never useful to our parents and grandparents. It was useful for a number of different reasons, right? Like, heaven was important to our ancestors in very significant ways, like that we can't really identify with, because my generation is trying to live abundantly in this life. We had a whole lot of ancestors that was like, yo, the only
give me some
reward
food.
The only reward we gonna get for real is in heaven.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, you can't sit, but they're listening to you, son. And just like Malachi heard you, brought you to me. I never even heard of you. And he brings you. I said, wait a minute, back up. Let me hear this dude. Who is this guy? And I do know you.
Right.
And I didn't know I knew you. I knew you by the spirit. But I mean, you lived in my hometown. Your daddy was one of my heroes because he's succeeded a hero. Your mother
knew, and you're going to go, oh. But there's a lot of tremendous men and women that I've encountered who are going to be speaking on this program too. Malachi will be hosting some of them, carrying on the work, bringing in more exciting things.
There you have it. We're keeping it going, keeping it moving, doing the best we can, right? And hey, without further ado, we got here our brother Kristian.
What up?
Hey, man, it's so good to have you. I'm excited to get this show on the road. You know, I threw this video together real sloppy. I could do video real good, but I start liking this transition of the iPhone screen.
Yeah, it's the thing.
I was like, I could edit this out, right? But I was like, you know what? I'm just trying to get this in, and I want to get this. So I want you to know, like, I recorded this on my phone, but it's some beautiful clips out there that we have just to hear. You know what I'm saying? And just to be able to reconnect. But you know what? Seeing Bishop, seeing what he was saying there, it could be kind of somber, if you will. Just reconnecting to it. I had one more thing that it's processing here, but anyways, we will get to that. Back in the day, you used to have an A and B selection from the choir.
Right. Bishop was such a gift. He was such a gift. He was a gift to the world and to me personally. So I'm eternally grateful for the brief amount of time I had to spend with him, because it saved me. It saved a part of me when that part of me needed to be saved. That's how I really feel. I feel like my connection with Bishop only lasted 7 months on this side, but I believe the connection is eternal, and I'm really grateful for that.
The odds, Kristian, of seeing him and being on the show when he wasn't sick, and then you got to see him in person too.
Yes.
Right? I believe that was put together.
Yes.
You got to see him in person before he transitioned, and you got to be on the show. And the thing is, I will tell you how many people, and you already know how many people that would just love to had that moment or had that time, how many people that were on the phone just wanted to. And I'm only saying this is because, when Bishop recorded that video in hospice and said that I was going to continue this work, I knew he was in hospice. I know he was going through that. I was the one that was like, Bishop, we have to, let's do some videos. And he was like, okay. I mean, and Mike Williams went in there and recorded that, and Mike sent it to me, and I'm knowing like, this is the video I'm going to play on this episode or on this show. And he put my name in, and I was like,
yeah.
I didn't plan on him saying that. I just was like, so it's imperative that, especially the expanded conscious piece, right? Because we loved it, and we talked and just had so much fun with being able to expand. And so if a person looks at, the way I described this sacred disruption, recently I went to there's a monastery. I'm planning on doing some more work out here. There's some sacred things, and I've done a few different sacred things. Went out to a Hindu temple and a Buddhist temple, and and it's really unique, just and interesting to see people's practices. And this weekend I kind of assisted the spiritual director and led these meditations, and I'm sitting there on this Sunday after reading the meditation, walking or doing a walking meditation, and I'm reading this Thich Nhat Hanh this Sunday in this chapel after doing a chant, and I'm like, this is a different way, a different connection to the divine, when I grew up with a lot of emotion and a lot of things going on, and this is amazing. This is sacred, and that's why I think I titled this, sacred disruption, because what you are doing, I want you to know this, what you are doing in helping people deconstruct, it's bigger than just what they're personally going through, brother. You're deconstructing an illusion, a reality that is not real. And you're only at the part of deconstructing their faith. when they really need to be probably deconstructing their reality, because a lot of our pre-programming and things we get in school, things we get in the community. And the crazy thing is, when you look at society today, they're posting up the church first, and then they're deconstructing our whole entire political system. They're literally want to switch up our whole entire reality. So it is sacred. It is imperative. It is literally a survival in what you're doing today, more than it is just, I'm tired of church. I want people to know that. That's what we're going to talk about this evening.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do what I do because how much I love the Black church. But I love the people in it more than I love the institution. So because the institution is meaningless without the people, but the people are good without the institution. So I really want to do what is best for the people. And that means questioning some of the stuff that we were taught, even if you go back to your original conclusion, or if you venture off in some other area. I think it's important that we think about what we believe.
Do you know that's what Bishop told me specifically, and that's what I modeled my show after, is that there's a question, and that's how Beyond Belief album came up. And it says, what do you believe? Why do you believe it? And how do those beliefs add to or subtract to the quality of your life?
Right.
He said, I just want people to think.
Yeah.
That's it. Gospel of Inclusion and God Is Not a Christian Book, both of those two books didn't come along as a topic or subject based on just, okay, I have these topics or subjects. He got a 2-book deal from Simon and Schuster. And he was going through, I don't believe all the scriptures the same way I used to. And specifically, I don't believe in hell. And that led up to, okay, I need to come up with a model. I need to come up with, where am I coming from? So there's some theology that can kind of either match up or get it to where people can kind of relate with what you have done with your not latest book, your book.
Yeah, Greatest Commandment Theology. Yeah, this is the same thing. Gospel of Inclusion, Greatest Commandment Theology. It's like they go hand in hand. Mine was a byproduct of the same experience. I don't believe the same stuff that I used to believe. There are things that I still believe that I don't believe the same way, but I'm not sure what that looks like for me in the practical application of my faith day to day. So what can I develop for myself, right? This started with me. What can I develop for myself so that my faith makes sense to me? And when I landed on Greatest Commandment Theology, I was like, I think I could work with this personally, right? This is just me wanting to make sense out of my life. And then I decided to share with other people and see what they thought. And that's how we got here. That's how the paths wound up crossing.
Tell me, do you remember that day or that moment that you were like, I can't do it anymore? 2015, I've been doing with church and playing backup keys or something. And I remember in 2015, I was at a church and he was political. And that's when I said, I can't do it anymore. I'm done. And then in 2015, and I did not go to a church, especially a fundamentalist church, on a Sunday morning out of obligation ever again. Yeah. It was 2000. Do you remember? And what's interesting is Bishop moved back from Chicago roughly. No, it was probably 2015. Yeah.
Okay. For me, it was a gradual process that really got going at the top of seminary. Like my first day on campus, one of my professors, Dr. Karen Massey, said to all the new students, I want to tell you right now, the Bible is not the word of God. And, you know, I'm a Baptist kid. You know, my dad was disruptive, but still highly held to biblical authority. So that was jarring to me to hear somebody say that. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, let's see where this goes. So then seminary just helps me to think theologically. It helps me to love God more with my mind, apply my mind to the beliefs that I've been handed. And I was challenged in seminary about the issue of human sexuality, because I grew up in a church where it was like, yeah, you know, being gay is wrong. I mean, that's a basic assumption in the space that I come from. And it's a don't ask, don't tell policy. So my classmates challenged me to think about that a little bit deeper. So I did, because I'm encountering people who I know like really love God and love God's people and want to do right by God and want to do right by people. So I'm like, these same gender loving people can't be the abominations my doctrine tells me they are. That doesn't even make sense. And I'm a very like pragmatic, practical person. So when I had the opportunity to think about those things more intentionally, I started thinking about them. And that led me to the moment that I generally cite as I was thinking about how my view on biblical authority has shifted and how my view on human sexuality was shifting. What put it over the top for me was reflecting on my own sexuality. So I was raised to believe that sexuality was a choice, that, you know, people choose to be gay, right? And I never parroted that. I just internalized it. I just kind of held it. And in my reflection on my own sexuality, I asked myself the question, Christian, did you choose your sexuality? Did it ever feel like a choice to you? And I had to be honest with myself, like, no, my sexuality was never a choice to me. I have always liked what I like since the time I can remember. I don't remember anything else. So I had to have the conversation with myself. If you didn't choose your sexuality, why do you believe gay people chose theirs? And at that moment, I was like, oh, snap. So like, what if somebody was telling me that my sexuality that I just discovered, I didn't choose it, I just discovered. What if somebody told me that that made me an abomination to God? And I was like, nah. So I developed more empathy for same gender loving people in that moment and decided I did not want to perpetuate a theology that continued to separate people from God and separate them from themselves based on how they identify.
That's firm. Like it's a firm 100% transition in terms of like, it's that lived experience. Like I'm living it, I'm experiencing it, and then I'm using critical thinking and being able to say, no, I think a lot of people are afraid what people will say. There's so much that people have an authority over people. Mm-hmm. And especially, what would you say the experience is in there's a difference between Black deconstructing and white deconstructing. But essentially, when it comes to same gender loving, because what I've noticed is there's a lot of even same gender loving people like Bishop Flunder, who has a phenomenal, like she's basically taken models and things that she enjoyed about the church and literally created a incredible organization that's affirming. But I know that there is a real difference in terms of like, even when it comes to being affirming, being able to say that in the Black church specifically.
Yeah, when it comes to being affirming in the Black church, we have such major issues with discussing homosexuality because we don't really discuss sexuality. We don't discuss sexuality in general other than don't do it. So it stigmatizes sex in general. It stigmatizes sexuality in general, which is why we created a space in our digital community where we can just destigmatize conversations about sex. So we just speak plainly, all of that stuff. We talk about sexual ethics just to destigmatize the conversation in general, to help people loosen up around the conversation. And when it comes to how deconstruction functions differently in the Black space versus the white space, I mean, it's culture.
Yep.
Culture impacts everything.
Yep.
Our spirituality is experienced through the lens of our culture. You know, I'm eventually going to write a book on this.
Oh man, I got something for you. I want you to, as you do that, is looking at the Black spirituality, even in the African American spiritual churches that really just, her name is Leafly Anderson, and it was the Black spiritual churches, African American spiritual churches, basically they integrated Protestant, hoodoo, voodoo, African spirituality, and it was woman led. A lot of it was woman led. So that would be, I think it would be phenomenal. Matter of fact, I think there was some connections to Garvey to that also. And it's so sad because, like, as I look at the divine mental sciences and all those churches out of Detroit and Chicago, and I'm like, that was really unique. Have you heard much about those churches?
I haven't.
Brother, it's so sad that the African American spiritual churches they took all the stuff that we like and then they blended it with all the other spirituality, creating almost like this environment and this space that will lean more to consciousness and the quantum. Like it's like Black folks was doing that in America.
Yeah, but in the fundamentalist church, they stigmatize syncretism, the bringing together of these different experiences and traditions to create something new. They demonize it and stigmatize it, even though the Black church is the result of syncretism. You don't get a Black church as it is without syncretism, because we brought our own spirituality, we brought our own culture, and fundamentalism was forced upon us, and we did what we could to incorporate our own spirituality into that. That's syncretism. So it's mighty convenient to demonize syncretism when you yourself are a result of syncretism. It's a part of our whole experience, but fundamentalism creates this supremacist view of the world that the way I do faith is the only viable option and everything else is demonic. And that's not organic to who we are. It's not organic to who we are. We were indoctrinated into that belief.
And now we are puppets to indoctrinate our own people. And that's highly effective.
Yes.
Highly effective. Like, and what I'm noticing is they take the most, it's like you can see the people that you would see on the street, and then they bring it to the church and be fun. Like Philip Anthony Mitchell, he's like taking hardcore, like I don't. He's worse than Candace Owens in the sense that he's taking that message and not necessarily just talking fundamentalists. He's actually taking things within the Black culture and saying, hey, you are wrong within the Black culture. And here's the thing is there's a lot of I don't know if he knows he's doing it, but there's a lot of neuro-linguistic programming. The way his phrasing, the way he's pausing, the way he kind of speaks out the side of his mouth, and it's sad and it's damaging because of the fact that people will believe him, and especially white folk will believe him, and then Black folk will believe him.
Yeah. Oh, somebody they asking what my shirt says. My shirt says "sassy ass black man" is what it says. One of my followers on TikTok made this for me after a piece of content I made when people were trying to weaponize the term sassy against me, and I was like, that don't offend me. And I was like, I'll get a shirt that says "sassy ass black man" and wear it around. And one of my followers was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna make that," and then they send it to me, so I wear it sometimes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's funny how people want to make you gay. Like, dude, you can't make some. It's really, really tough, if at all, to make somebody gay, because like when you was talking about that, you was just like, did I decide to be gay? I knew gay people that would try to hit on me when I was growing up, but it was like I just couldn't be gay. Like I'm sorry. Like I used to tell them, like, I'm sorry, but I don't like deals and nicks.
Yeah, I'm not trying to prove anything. I just am who I am, right? I want everybody to have the freedom to be who they are. I'm not trying to prove my sexuality. So if you think I'm gay, I don't care. Like that ain't got nothing to do with me. What you eat don't make me shit. So I don't care. What you drink don't make me piss.
Right. It's not even a thing. I get it all the time, even from people that are positive talking about Bishop with it. And I'm like, first of all, what difference does it make? But the second thing is like, why does a person want to prove it? It's so interesting the way we function and people function. And I think a lot of it has to do with just being in the Black church and how people present themselves, and it makes people feel a certain way. And I think they kind of look for excuses to be like, oh, yeah. It's silly.
But you know what? Yeah, it's mad silly, but I didn't want to lose what you were talking about earlier with Philip Anthony Mitchell, and you were talking about like the systems and structures using Black voices to further indoctrinate us. And I actually just talked about this today on my platform, because we're about to record an episode of our podcast called The Theology of Sinners. And one of the observations I made from the film Sinners is that the Klansmen in the film and the vampires in the film they just represent two different expressions of white fundamentalist Christianity. And particularly with the vampires, I said those are like, the CCM Christians, and the Klansmen or the MAGA Christians, so they present differently, but they basically have the same message with the same outcome. And particularly with the vampires, what they would do is they would try to convince you that you don't need to maintain your identity. Just come assimilate with us and you'll be free. And once they were able to bite some of the Black people in the juke joint and flip them, they use those same Black people to try to convince the other people in the juke joint to come out. And on a number of occasions in the film, it almost worked. Like when the twins, like when Stack turned into a vampire, he almost got Smoke on a couple of occasions because he talked to him in a language he could understand, in a tone he could understand. He connected to him emotionally when he talked to him in a way that the white vampire never could. And it works the same way in church. They deputize Black people to indoctrinate us further into assimilation in a system that means us harm.
Oh my God. Brother, I'm going to tell you something. Do you know that the surface level of what they're doing, the religion part is surface.
Yeah.
That's surface. Like, it's real, it's powerful, and it will drag you. But do you know what that leads to throughout your whole entire life? Like your whole entire life. From government, the way you function at work.
We had a conversation with Dr. Delman Coates on our platform last week. He's a pastor of Mount Eden Baptist Church in Clinton, Maryland. He's a New Testament scholar. And we were having this conversation about sexual ethics. And he said, it's important for us to move away from this obsession with personal piety, like sexual ethics, because if that continues to take up so much of our energy, we'll never have the time to address these other big systemic issues. And that's the stuff we need to be addressing. That's the stuff that's holding us back as a community and as a culture. But we're so bogged down with who you sleeping with at night that we can't focus on the system that is literally crushing us. So yeah, like, it's way bigger than these religious rules that we bicker about all the time. That's the stuff that distracts us from the real enemy.
Distract us from the real enemy. And you know what I think the real enemy is? It's not the people. It's the consciousness. It's the thought. It's the thinking. It's the processing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we can get people to assimilate, and I think it's reached a critical mass, and you're seeing it come out within the government because they're like, wait a minute, we got too many different people coming to our universities, learning. We got too many different people getting too much information, getting too much power, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Jasmine Crockett really, really can piss people off. I guarantee you, like, just because of the fact that she's brilliant, but yes, she's doing her brilliancy of who she is in her tone, in her voice, without changing. Right. And so therefore, the fight, right, that we have to do for our era and our time has more to do with not just the survival, but with consciousness. So what I see through you, Kristian, is that this is a consciousness thing, and they're really ultimately want people's consciousness. But if you can't get to people from a theological perspective, because I already have just me as a non-theologian, I see things different in the sense where it's like I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you can't tell me what happened 100 years ago. You can't clearly tell me what happened 100 years ago. So how are you going to tell me, and how are we going to have a discussion about what happened 2,500 years ago in another country?
Yeah. Come on. Like, why are we skipping over all of this history to jump back to this one little period in history? Like, that just, nothing else needs to be addressed. Nothing else needs to be considered. Yeah. I can't engage in theological conversations with people who don't believe in history. I can't do it.
Do you think, I wonder if they want to know history, like even biblical history? I mean, even biblical history. I heard a guy with Dan McClellan, and he was talking about, Dan said, there is no Christian that can give that has any authority, right? Single authority. And one guy was like, well, yes and no. And he goes back and he says, and he starts going over the Council of Nicaea. And I'm like, why would he even think about going to Dan McClellan and talking about the Council of Nicaea? Like, he's an idiot.
Yeah.
I want to sometime with social media, how people can instantly be like, yeah, you want to have a theological debate with these scholars, and you're going to talk about the Council of Nicaea.
Yeah.
But going about history, as you think about history, do you run into a lot of people? Have you ever had those discussions about just the biblical history in terms of like within your community with the dealing with, King Jamie or James, and all of the things to do with even the Roman Catholic Church and the establishment, and the fact that all that stuff is like right in our face. Who is it? When I think about Philip Anthony Mitchell and other things that he's talking about, there was one thing he said, I want to get your take on it. And he was on Nehemiah's show. And Nehemiah was like, I just don't get it, there's psychics and he's just talking about spirituality. And Philip is like, this is not the word of Philip Anthony Mitchell. This is not the word. This is the Bible. This is the Bible. This is, he reiterates that. That's like programming. And basically says some bullshit that's like, the Bible says XYZ, right?
Yeah.
So it's him bringing authority to the scripture, and everyone's supposed to sit back and be like, oh, it's scripture.
Yeah. It's so the technical term is bibliolatry, right? The idolatry of the Bible. And fundamentalist Christianity is built in part on bibliolatry, because everything revolves around the question, well, what does the Bible say about that? So in fundamentalist Christianity, what the Bible says is supposed to settle the matter. And then on top of that, you also build in this belief that the Bible doesn't need any interpretation. It just says what it says. You're just supposed to live by it. And then you get somebody like Philip Anthony Mitchell who just reinforces that over and over again. I'm just telling you the Bible, as if people don't read the Bible differently. And then you have people who, are positioning themselves as authorities on what the Bible says, and they will demonize real life scholars who read the original languages of the sacred text, who've gone to school for a decade and have continued learning since, just digging into these texts, and they'll give their perspective on it and they'll call them the devil. I'm not investing my time in people like that. That's why, like, people always ask me, would I want to have a conversation with some of these fundamentalist Christian leaders that I mentioned in my content? And I tell them, like, I'm completely indifferent. Like, there was actually an opportunity, and I asked my community, and they was like, nah. They was like, we don't want you to do that. I was like, cool, because I don't really want to do it anyway, because it's a dead end. Like, I am not calling the names of people like Philip Anthony Mitchell and Jackie Hill Perry and Tiffany Montgomery to get their attention with the hopes that they'll give me some attention. No, I do ministry on the internet, and I tell people all the time, the internet is a place. So when I started doing ministry on the internet, I started getting associated with other people who do ministry on the internet, because the internet is a place. And I started attracting people who looked for spiritual formation on the internet. And when they came into my digital space, they brought with them the baggage of other digital spaces. They brought with them the baggage of the teaching of Jackie Hill Perry. They brought with them the baggage of the conditioning that makes them susceptible to somebody like Philip Anthony Mitchell. So I was trying to address just the thought process. I was trying to address the theology. I was trying to address the doctrine and the dogma without calling names. And after a few years of doing that and talking to some people, I realized not everybody was connecting these dots. So I said, now, not only am I going to tell you about these doctrines and leave these breadcrumbs so you can connect the dots, I'm going to connect the dots right in front of you. Here's the bad theology, and here's who's promoting it, and here's how, and I'm going to show you line by line, principle by principle, bar for bar. So yeah, like, I don't care about having a conversation with these people, or I don't care. Like,
yeah,
I want to help people.
Well, they want to, a lot of those people want to debate so that they can try to prove something to an audience. And I think they're really quick to want to do that, to try to prove something wrong, but prove some other people wrong. But it's kind of it's senseless, because of the fact that if you got a group of people that love you, they're going to love you. It's kind of like literally trying to fight a MAGA person.
Yeah, for what? This reminds me of maybe the last time I was on your platform and I said the exact words, I am no longer on the battlefield for my Lord.
I was looking for that.
I'm telling you, this is a chapter in my next book that we were conditioned to believe we had to win the lost, save the sinner, and defeat the enemy. Everything was about conquering. Everything was, right? And so a lot of people will get out of the church but not get that conditioning out of them, and then they'll start to practice something new and want to conquer everybody over to the new thing now. So now I'm doing this new thing because I'm deconstructed, and now I need to convince everybody to come over here and do the new thing that I'm doing. And even if you don't do it with me, I need you to at least understand it. And that's just not necessary when it comes to your faith. That is the church still in you. And it happens all the time. It happens all the time. Like, people get out of Christianity and don't get the Christianity out of them. People get out of fundamentalism and don't get the fundamentalism out of them. And one thing you got to get out of is this idea that you got to be on a battlefield all the time, proving the validity of your faith. That is the trick of the enemy, to convince you got to prove the validity of your own faith. I'm not trying to prove anything to anybody. I share what I share so that other people who are thinking along the same lines will understand, oh, I'm not alone. There's somebody else who's thinking along these lines, and they have language for the thoughts that I think. I'm not doing this to argue with somebody who's committed to misunderstanding me. What I look like, my energy is too valuable. No. No.
You said it's like an energy vampire. Like, you feed off of, like anything to do with apologist. It's like they're not disruptive. They're not even they're disputatious. And disputatious is when you use, like, you feed off of the energy of conflict. So I'm going to go into the space, and I'm going to look for a way for me to argue, to defend your faith. If you have to defend a faith, I mean, it's a moot point to me. Like, there's no, I don't, what are you defending it for?
Yeah, the only thing you would need to defend is the right to practice your faith,
That's
the
different.
right to practice your beliefs.
Yeah.
What apologists are doing in this iteration of Christian apologetics is defending their privilege to impose their beliefs. So not only is this how I believe, everybody else needs to believe it too, or they're going to hell. And that is not a helpful expression of apologetics. But apologetics don't work the same way in our context that they did in the early church,
Right.
when Christians were being persecuted.
Right.
Like, not this made up persecution that we get in this Western context that decries Christian persecution at every turn, when everybody who's in power is a Christian and wielding that power around the country. So again, I don't want to deal with people who internalize propaganda as history. Like Christians have always been persecuted. Yeah, back in the early church, and they were defending their right to practice their beliefs. But you got the right to practice your Christian beliefs in this country. So where's the persecution? If we look at the actual persecution, it's not Christians being persecuted. It's Christians doing all the persecuting. So yeah, like,
they don't see it, don't want to see it, and they're using a lot of history. And I think now they're using the history to do other things, right? They're using the power, they're using the history, and that's one thing that I think we're dealing with different than any other era or other time. You know, there was a time that I have a Pan-Africanist, Cesar. You would have to meet him one day. And he said Martin Luther King and all of them didn't have time to, they're worried about survival and civil liberties, civil rights. And I believe in our era, the thing is they're using that old system to really change more to do with our life and how we're living. And if we don't deconstruct this, like, I don't care if a person is going to church like today and you're still going to go to church, shout and dance and do all that. You still need to think about some level of questioning why you're doing what you're doing. And if you're doing that, how does that add to or subtract to your life? Right? A guy asked me the other day, he was like, do you believe in God? Because I'm in a different space. And I was like, no. Like, do you believe in your mama? Do you believe your mama is your mama? Or do you know your mama is your mama? Like, I know who my mama is. So whenever it comes to God, there's no question. I don't have to believe in something that I know for myself, from my experience, because I'm a mystic, right? So we approach things in a sense that it's my lived experiences and it's my ability to alchemize and my ability to do things on this planet. Like, I'm more of the game, like, why? But I don't want to debate theology. I want to throw my snake on the ground, my staff, and turn it into a snake and see if it eats your snake. What's the magic? But and a lot of that is based on, you know, human psychology. But so how are you addressing like people's, because I know you guys are getting into allowing people to connect to, you know, spirituality and other things within your community. And I would like to make sure I mention some of that, because I think that's really beautiful in the fact that within the TFC fam, you're able to not only just deconstruct, but then find a path.
Yeah.
And you encourage that.
Yes. I want people to figure out what works for them. And that's the work. Because what fundamentalism does to you is it makes you think you have no options. It's either this or hell. It's either this or you're outside of the will of God. And that is very confining and very constraining. And it leads to all sorts of religious trauma and anxiety and depression and religious psychosis for a lot of people, right? This idea that this is the only way you can do it. If you do anything outside of these lines, you are outside of the will of God and you are going to hell. So what we try to do is encourage people to question that basic assumption that that's the only option. Question that basic assumption and then open people up to the idea that you actually have choices. But the scary thing about choices is that now you have the responsibility to make the choice. Now there's nobody doing it for you. There's nobody handing you something saying this is how you're supposed to do it. No, we are saying there are so many ways to do this, and we're going to get in community with each other and talk about the various ways that we do it in our own personal walk, so that we can learn from each other. But that's the work, because when everything has always been prepackaged and imposed on you, having to make a choice for yourself is a lot of pressure. It's a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of personal accountability when you have to do it that way. So yeah, people are in various stages of their evolution. Like some people are like real solid, like, I'm a Christian, I know what that means to me, I'm proud to be a Christian. There's some people who are like, I don't know how I feel about that term Christian right now, I'm kind of in flux, Christian doesn't fit for me. Some people are very solid in their humanist identity. Some people are spiritually fluid. Some people are in Ifo religion. It just, what works for you is what we want to encourage you to do. And we do it in a Black church context, which is why I always say the Black church transcends Christianity. It transcends Christianity, because my Black church is not exclusively Christian. It's actually probably minority Christian, but it is a Black church. So you can't tell me that a Black church has to be Christian, because my Black church ain't only Christian. It's a little bit of everything.
That's part of this conscious evolution.
Yeah.
So
yes.
conscious evolution is realizing, like, last we had a Zoom, and Black consciousness was a movement, and then people get it confused, and the consciousness is a thing that is like, that's how we create, that's how we be, there's an awareness, but it goes to the point, like, it took consciousness to create mathematics. And so therefore the hard problem is trying to calculate that. There's a interesting fact is that the Islam, the Arabs created algebra, and they were moving forward, and then they said there was devil in the numbers. And if you look throughout history, Chinese and Japan, of course, they're so far much older than things like America, but and then of course Ethiopia and Egypt. But essentially, the Arabs stopped with their mathematics, I think, outside of algebra, because they said the devil was in the numbers. And I say that because of how powerful it is when it comes to spirituality, or when it comes to religion, and what it can either help you do or stop you from doing. And a lot of people are stopped from being able to see who they truly are because of their belief systems. Right.
And the whole number thing plays into all of these different traditions. It's wild to me how
Absolutely.
Christians will demean will demean spiritualists for their numerology. They look for the 111 or the 444 when they see it, like it means something to them, because that's a part of their tradition, that's a part of their spirituality. And Christians will look down on that, but then go into the church on Sunday morning and tell you that 7 is a number of completion and 5 is a number of grace.
I was about to say, yeah, they just don't know anything about the early church either.
Yeah.
Early church would freak them out.
It's all numerology. It's just expressed in different traditions, but it's all numerology. So there have always been spiritual traditions that saw the divine in the numbers. There have always been spiritual traditions that saw the divine in the stars. But church folk will demonize the hell out of astrology.
They're idiots because of the fact that you wouldn't have your cell phone if it wasn't for that. You wouldn't be able to fly. Like you're getting your device is probably one of the biggest demons ever. It's just because of the fact that we created that. You know, one of the things about alchemy, it's like pre-chemistry led into gold. So they were mixing more spirituality with science. And I think we're really strongly headed back in that direction because the thing is as you help people deconstruct, that's also helping, as you already know, with their psychology.
Yes, hand in hand.
You know?
Yeah, hand in hand. We say, my wife and I have a ministry called Therapy and Theology. And it's really her ministry. I'm just the theology arm of it. And we have this conversation about the connection between our spiritual health and our emotional health, and that they're intertwined.
Yeah.
They're intertwined. Like your spiritual maturity in many ways is connected to your emotional intelligence.
Absolutely.
And if you're trying to be all super spiritual and not paying attention to your emotions, you are lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Because spirituality and emotional health are meant to ground us. Spirituality is what grounds us, but you can't be grounded if you are completely detached from your emotions. So you can't be grounded in your spirituality and be completely unaware of yourself. You just can't do it.
Man, is there is that part of within that ministry? Do you guys do things together within TFC?
So sometimes we'll do a special episode of the podcast where it's just the two of us talking about these topics. And then in the ecosystem, like, so for people who are subscribed to our Patreon community and any of the paid tiers, once a month, Pamela does something called Real Talk, where she digs into emotionally healthy spirituality, talking about how our emotional health is a major component and how we walk through our spiritual evolution. So that's just like a benefit of being subscribed to the community, because every month she's going to do that, and then the replay is there available for the people who are subscribed.
That's beautiful. That's 100%. That's beautiful. I know that people need resources and tools, because it could be very difficult, especially when people experience life and they experience they experience things through their psyche. And I was telling someone recently that I have family that's been in the church forever, and it was difficult when I think I told my folks, and they were on their way to a church event, and it's March. It's like early March 2020. And I said, I think you should sit this one out. Like, this is serious. Like, you should sit this out before leaving, going to a convocation or some kind of meeting, my mother and father. And they didn't quite get it, because it was like, what do you mean? Like, I don't get it. The world is, and for them, they'd be like, what do you mean? It's like, it's not end times, is it? And long story short, they went to an event with 100 people, and I think 30 died. A lot. Ooh-wee. It was so many people that died that it was documented, like on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a moment. And they did end up getting COVID there, but they went to a lot of funerals, drive-by funerals. And during 2020, there was a lot of church people died because of the cognitive dissonance with the fact that, you know, them being able to get it in their understanding, right? You can't do this. You can't, just because you want to go to church, you probably shouldn't. But there's a lot of that, I believe, within what you have to you address. And one of the things, that's what I've seen with Bishop. Bishop was not a person that was trying to recruit anybody. He wasn't trying to recruit. He was just speaking to the people that needed a voice.
That's it.
You know, he had a show called The Voice of Reason. And it was beautiful because he was willing at a time, especially at the height he was, and he was willing to sacrifice. And I don't think it was the sacrifice to be. And the more I think about it, I can tell you that I don't think Bishop necessarily sacrificed and said, "Oh, I'm sacrificing to do this." Bishop was like, "I just can't do that shit anymore."
Yeah.
Like, no matter what, I'll be broke. I just can't do it anymore. Like, he was tired. You know, he was tired.
Our stories are very similar. Like, just mine was on a much smaller scale. I just decided that I cannot continue to preach the theology that was embedded in me, and we'll just see what happens. But what I know is that I'm not going back to preaching the stuff that was embedded in me. And I had to discard all of it. There's a whole lot of it I held on to. Yeah. And there was some stuff in there I had to completely discard. And I said, if I cannot have an effective ministry going down this path of liberation, then I'll just do something else in my life.
Right.
It was just that simple.
Right. 100%. Well, I know it's later there in Atlanta, and I appreciate you for your time and what you are committed to do.
Thank you.
I know that we have, she's posted some things with TFC, but what I would like to do this evening, Deidre, you may have Christian's Cash App. I don't want anything to go to TFC. Sorry, TFC. Like, I want, there we go. We got, this is to go straight to Christian, so that, long as he, you know, don't be going out there and buying none of that booze. You know, man, they be telling you what to do with your money. No, let's just so he can, you know, let's go ahead and give him show him some love, you know, let him get a burger or something.
Put a little cheese on it.
You know what I mean? Letting, you know, somebody give the 99 cents for the cheese, you know.
Yeah, I got a question. I have a question for you. What has it been like to experience the faith community as a virtual congregation? Like, because I tell people all the time, I don't know how to explain it. You just got to experience it. So with you having gotten some of that experience, what is that like from your end?
It's a digital, it literally is a community, and it would be the closest thing to being a faith-based. It's not super churchy, but if you want to call it that, it's a church that has auxiliaries, that has things going on, and you get to go in and out. You can come over here and do this. You can come over here and do that. It is 100% what you envisioned, and it is dope. Like, I'm in the fellowship hall. I'm also on Holy Smokes, and I think, I believe you're spot on the right path. Some of the things that I already know, like the institution, bringing up, I noticed that Philip had an institution, and I'm like, oh, but the thing about the institution, I went to Oral Roberts, and the thing about the institution is like, one of the things down the line would be TFC being able to say, you know what, you could go to school or you could go learn, or you can, and it'd be more something that a person can experience. But I believe I've experienced that I love the way you guys have it set up where literally it's almost like the metaverse. There back in the day, I used to play games. Literally, I played these games where I may have to look and see where they are with that. We can make a TFC metaverse, which is, it looks like a room. You go in there and you can click, and you can go in there, click, and you can go in there.
I had a vision for that. Like, yeah.
You could do the metaverse. Basically, being able to do TFC, right? This is doable. Take TFC and basically create Minecraft, and you can have, if you wanted to, you can have like a digital. You could take it as far as having it via. This is already available. VR.
Yeah.
But I mean, just no different than Minecraft. What is that? The game where you steal cars. Jesus. GTA.
Yeah. Grand Theft Auto.
My son, and this won't take long, but this will flabbergast you. So you know how you have GTA and you're playing the game and you go in there, you take cars and do all this and you follow the story. There are GTA worlds that have literally a god, and you are a part of this world. And you interact and you work with people, and you can't go be rogue. So you might have a job as a cop. And if you see somebody going off and being stupid, you could chase them down. If they don't stop, you could tell God that player XYZ is not pulling over like he's supposed to. So you can pull them over, and literally he's sitting there with a headset on, and you pull up and you go to that person's sitting there, and they're real people. And he says, you know why I pulled you over? He was like, no, man, I just think you want to harass me. Like, these are real people interacting.
Yeah.
And he could actually say, you know what? I'm taking you to jail. And he can lock that person up, put them in the car, and take them to a jail. Like, but you have to follow the rules based on the fact that somebody will kick you out. It's a role play, a game. And so I'll tell you, this iteration of where you are, right, brother, just keep going. I think being able to adapt and bring, some other features it's going to happen where, your ecosystem. And even if it doesn't go that far, being able to play around with a kind of a mighty networks where you have your own entire closed off ecosystem where you can go live, you can have rooms, and then that way you don't have to be going different places, but you're doing the right thing. And it's phenomenal. If I have people that are like on the edge of like, where do I go to, to be a part of a community or a family?
Mm-hmm.
Your place is 100% the number one.
I appreciate that. And I also appreciate the wrestling with the term church, because I know that we completely reimagine what church can be. So when I say it's a church, it's difficult to internalize that, because like nothing about this feels like church. But it's like when we imagine what church could be, this is what we imagined.
You're helping me more than you know, coming from pastors and coming from like, I've ran. I constantly run away from being called a church. Like
a lot of people do. Yeah. It's not just you. It's a lot of people. Like a good portion of the faith community is resistant to the term church. And I just had to say, like, look, y'all can call it whatever y'all want. You however you need to frame it in your mind, because it is what it is to you. I'm just telling y'all that when I envisioned what a church could be, this was it. Right. So that's what it is for me. And it doesn't mean that like I'm your pastor. Because even my dad told me when I was supposed to go into, more established churches, he was like, son, for the first 7 years, you just a preacher. Folk don't let you pastor until about 7 years. So, it's not even a matter of trying to assert my position and all of that stuff. It was just like, I believe the work of the church is to build community around the concept of faith. And traditionally, it's been done on Sunday mornings and Wednesday night in Bible study, or Tuesday night, whatever your tradition was, and the auxiliaries that met in the choir rehearsals. And then I was just like, what if we did it this way? So it's an enigma. It really is an enigma. That's why I like to ask people, like, what is that like for you? Because it's something different for everybody.
It's different. Yeah. And one of the things, if anyone's watching, one of the things I would tell a person is dig in. It's like one of the things you have to do is you have to dig in. I believe on the website, there are all the links. So people need to know. I don't know if you have a start here or a landing page. But yeah, your start here page is almost a landing page. And so the best thing to do is go to that start here or go to that landing page. And then that way you can begin to explore different sides of the community. Like it's really, really, really worthwhile.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
Keep going. I'll forever be a part. You know what I mean? And I think that I know 100% Bishop is, the last thing I'll say about Bishop, man, like people were calling when towards the end. And he was like talking to me, and he said, they're only doing that because they think I'm dying. And I'm like, that's what I was doing. Like, and he said it again, like, and I'm just like, you're in hospice, right? That's what I'm going through in my head. You're in hospice. And he said it on a text message. And literally after I seen him, it clicked. I was thinking, oh, maybe it's the drug. Maybe it's denial. No. He was in the zone and in a space that he was like, he said, the kids are cool. I mean, they're going to work out. I'm good. I'm good. Like there was people wanting to pay for him to go to get some special services and, go with Michael Beckwith to do some things. And literally he was like, I don't want to. I'm good. And literally, I think I sent that video to you. And on hospice, he said, with people like, Christian, specifically, it just gives me peace.
He said that to me the night that I met him, and it haunts me to this day. It was so humbling and haunting at the same time, because it was like he told me, now that I've encountered you, he's like, because of this encounter with you, if I didn't wake up in the morning, I could go home in peace. And I was like, whoa, Bishop, we got way more time. Chill. And then 7 months later, he was gone.
I see why it does haunt you, because he said that and it was already like, what are you saying? And then like the minute you find out he's sick, you're like, okay, that explains the poem and the fact that how hard it was for you to hold it together. Most people probably didn't know that.
Yeah. It was very like it haunts me.
Jesus.
It haunts me.
Hell yeah, it would. Cool, man. You're a person that this final thing, you're a person that as I was working on this, I thought about you a lot. And you can ask Deidre. I thought about you, and that was as I was using these AI tools to create this literally a full record. I'm doing a bunch of stuff with it, but I created this record, and literally as I was writing these songs and figuring out this technology, and I mean, I wrote a code for songwriting as I put my song in there to make the song be really good. I worked with a guy named Wayman Tisdale, and he was very melodic. You know what I mean? And so the structure of these songs, the way they work and the way a song should work, you know. But I thought about you because some of these sounds, they came out, you know. And so June 19th, that's when I'm releasing this here. It's called Beyond Belief. And that saying there is repeated listening to this may dissolve limiting beliefs. And just to give a little bit of this is, you know, I feel good just to be able to give you a little bit. There's a song that one song here that there's a few songs that I have for Bishop. And this one is Release. You know, my dad used to always say this. You're here real quick.
If it's Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, or Mohammed, just know, my friend, God is within. No matter the name, no matter the faith, God is within, moving through grace. Born from a world of love, no shame. We all feel it when we hear our name. Our name is love, our name is peace. Serenity in what we believe. So when you call my name, I will not fear. Love is the answer, it's always near. No power to blame, no guilt, no shame. Just let love flow and break the chain. Told what to believe, yet deep inside we know God is love, no matter where we go. Oh, let me take this moment, no fear, no shame, to stand in love and release the blame. Release the blame. Release the blame. Yeah. Choosing the path we must embrace. Love is the answer, for heaven's sake. Can we let go and let love flow? And the hate release the pain. Deep inside, we're all the same. Oh, this is where we choose our fate. Blindly accepting love not the same. But you have a chance to go within. And I know that God is a part of all of us, my friend. Oh, it's in you, it's in me. Love is the answer, no matter what they say. God is around, no matter the faith. No more division, no more pain. God is within, always safe. So go within, my friend, be still. God is within, and always will. Love is the answer, no matter what they say. God is with us, guiding the way. The way.
You ain't about to get me to sing that. You
Come on, Chris. Come on, Chris.
you gonna have to bring that down a couple of notches. You
You have to change the key signal.
You need to
Okay,
put me in
fair.
whatever key you will put Marvin Winans in. That's
Yeah,
the
you
key
just
you
bring it
put me in.
The whole model and the way it's structured is that you have songs that we would sing in the church, and then it's easy to replicate the whole pattern. Everything is like done specific. That whole model, chorus, pre-chorus, verse, chorus, pre-chorus, repeat bridge.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's really easy, but the lyric content is what is really, really important.
Yeah, it's important. It's very important. It's very, very important. We need music that aligns with what we believe. It's very important.
Affirmation music is what I'm essentially, because it's like you got gospel. This is affirming. This is affirmation. It's a blend of things, and you can still talk about God without it necessarily being like, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. But on the way out, this is my favorite one so far, and I'll be done. I promise you, this is my favorite one. No, that's not it. I thought I had uploaded it. Oh man, oh man. I guess I may not get to. There we go. This, just being able to do this has been liberating, because I don't have a bunch of musicians and producers and everything else. But the thing is the lyrical content. So we'll ride out with this here. I appreciate everyone that's come here. This here is going to release the 19th, Juneteenth. And so I promise you it literally will bless you. There's all kinds of 15 different tracks that are very similar. But this one here is one of my favorites. And this still makes me think of Kristian.
Why must we fight? Why must we fear? What broke the light and brought us here? What made us numb? What taught us to hate? Is this just pain, or is this fate? What we think becomes what we see, becomes what we be. Wounded minds running on repeat. It's time to rise and set love free. Oh, walk with me, talk to me, tell me we'll be okay. We'll be okay. Whisper sweet melodies in my ear so I won't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Oh, sweet love, sing truth into this space. Bought and sold, minds in a bind, searching the world for what lives inside. We carry the answer and the sacred sign. Go within or go without, that's the true fight, that's the real scars from the past still shape the now, but we can break the spell, we just forgot how. Oh, walk with me, talk to me, tell me we'll be okay. Yeah, whisper sweet melodies in my ear so I won't be afraid. Sweet melody, oh, sweet love, sing truth into this space. Forgive us, we know not what we do. We build these chains, now we breaking through. The war is within, but the power is to let love begin, let the soul come through. With me, talk to me, tell me we'll be okay. voice in my ear, so I won't be afraid. Oh, sweet love, sing truth into this faith. Love is still true. We are the proof. Love is still true. We are the proof.
That was a straight R&B ballad. You trying to bring that devil music in the church with this R&B? Yes. Come on, walk with me, talk with me. Yes. I love it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. It's going to be fun. There's some stuff with Bishop on there that, it's kind of a journey that'll work. And so therefore I try to do it where you can actually sing them. Mm-hmm. You can sing the song, but I appreciate everyone that's here. Ms. Deidre said something just happened, but with her mouse. But anyways, Kristian, I appreciate you, brother. 100%. And I'll probably play something pretty hype on the way out. So until next time, y'all have a good one.
Peace out.
Miracles come knocking like a quiet melody. You got to let them in to set your spirit free. The universe is humming a tune you can't ignore. So open up your heart, there's always something more. Oh, miracles, oh, magic, they dance up in the sky. Believe them with your soul and watch the reasons why. Manifest your wonder, let the journey start. Miracles like rivers, they flow into your heart. They say the world is wild, an untamed mystery. But if you close your eyes, belief is the key. Glimmering in darkness like whispers in the rain. Miracles will guide you through the joy and through the pain. Oh, miracles, oh, magic, they dance up in the sky. Believe them with your soul and watch the reasons why. Manifest your wonder, let the journey start. Miracles like rivers, they flow into your heart. They say the world is wild and untamed mystery. But if you close your eyes, belief is the key. Glimmering in darkness like whispers in the rain. Miracles will guide you through the joy and through the pain. Shy away if you want, kid, be afraid if you dare. But this life's no performance, no need for a snare. They'll judge you, they'll doubt you, but don't lose your flame. Miracles are waiting, just call them by name. Oh, miracles, oh, magic, they dance up in the sky.